Okay. Well, hi Josh. I'm Mel and you're Josh.
Yeah, I'm Josh. Thanks
Thanks for being here.
for having me.
I really, really love your makeup. I mentioned it earlier when we signed on,
Yeah,
but I love your makeup and I absolutely love your contour.
thank
And
you.
I never want to do my own makeup again when you're around.
Honestly, it's years in the making. You should have seen me the first foundation and first like everything I put on my face. It was like the foundation was 4 shades too light, then the contour was like dirt. It was just not great. And then it really took cheerleading because I have a background in cheerleading. And when I got into cheerleading off of gymnastics, the cheer girls helped me out, the cheer girlies helped me out, and then I started to make my own process off of that. So after 6 years, we're here.
That's I love it. It's so pretty and so clean.
It's all
Did you
pretty.
put on your own lashes too?
I did.
God. Please tell me it takes you a long time to do it so I don't feel bad about myself.
I'll lie to you. It takes me like 15 minutes.
Wow, that's a lie. It takes me 45.
A lie is 15. The reality is like slipstick stick done. Like,
Wow, are they the
yeah.
magnetic ones?
No, I've actually been wearing the exact same strip lashes pretty much since I got into wearing lashes. So I've been wearing the same exact ones, so the Russian volume ones from Kiss for as long as I can remember. And so I'm used to how the band fits on my lashes and the band feels on my face. And so I just put the glue on and then I do my lips while I wait for the glue to dry. And then when the glue dries enough to like get sticky, I kind of just boot boot done.
Okay, I need to do that. I need to actually let the glue dry a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, and if you put lash glue like on your actual lash line, like not a lot because you don't want to like glue your eyes shut, but if you be careful and just kind of put it on there beforehand, and then you let that dry a little bit and you let the glue on the lash dry a little bit and you stick it on, it'll go on like immediately exactly where it needs to be.
I need to try that because what
Yeah.
I do is I stick it on while it's still wet, put it on, smears in my eyelids. So the entire day I'm like walking around like this, constantly pushing my eye down, and then my
No, yeah.
eyeliner is everywhere.
Yeah, you have to like wait for it to dry a little bit because if you put it on while it's still wet, it's gonna do exactly what you just said. If you let it get tacky, it like won't budge, and then you can stick it on and it'll be perfectly good. The only thing is when it's tacky, you can't really move the lash around once you've already put it on your eye. So you kind of just have to commit to where it's going and pray to God it works.
Fabulous point. Thank you for those makeup tips that I will be using for sure.
I'm a little book of makeup knowledge, so if you need anything,
I'm
yeah.
definitely going to refer to you. Um, okay, so tell us a little bit more about yourself. Tell us.
Yeah, so me, I'm a haunt actor for Not Scary Farm seasonally. I do that. That was last season was my second season doing that. And that's kind of like where I met a lot of the people that I know in the community of photo meets. A lot of them come through haunt and take like a lot of the photographers come through and take photos of haunt people. And so I was in the Pumpkin Eater maze 2 years ago. I was a mask character. I was Peter Pumpkin Eater. And that was a really fun one to do. And then last season, I feel like I got put into a role that was like it felt very homey and like very warm to me. I was a vampire, but I was like not like we had two types of vampires in our maze. We had like the crazy like bloodthirsty ones, and then we had like kind of like sultry like I'm come from money ones. And that was what I was. I was like kind of like the pretty sultry, like I'm gonna sit in the bar and I'm gonna like coax you to come have a drink with me. And it was super fun. And that character like really like made me comfortable as a person in like what I do. Before Haunt, I was obviously in high school, so I couldn't do Haunt. But when I was in high school, I was a cheerleader for all 4 years. I was JV 1 year, varsity all three, and then I was a captain my senior year. And before that, even when I was in middle school, elementary school, and pretty much my entire youth, I was a gymnast, which was a fun time in Josh's life. I did that one for 13 years, which was quite a long time. So I did gymnastics, cheerleading, haunt, all that good stuff. I did 1 year of competitive cheer outside of high school, so I was a cheerleader for 5 years, and that was a fun one. I enjoyed cheerleading a lot. I actually kind of miss it now that I don't do it anymore. Kind of wish there was a space for it in my adult life, but there isn't really with the amount of stuff I do. And then I'm a barista at Starbucks like regularly. So that's like my normal everyday going to work, doing life job. So yeah, I've been a barista at Starbucks for I started my like the summer between my junior and senior year of high school. So almost, I'm like in the middle of my second year with them right now. I hit my third year. I'll actually hit my third year when I moved to Pennsylvania and I'm at a new store. I'm going to hit my third year in June. So that should be really, really fun. I'm excited for that little milestone that I'm going to get. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I mean, if I missed anything, let me know.
I think you gave us information, but did you say you were going to move to Pennsylvania?
I am going to move to Pennsylvania. Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Like permanent?
Um, no, I'm not doing it permanently. I don't think I could handle moving myself permanently away from everything that I've built. I'm almost 20 years old and I've lived in this exact house in this exact city in California for 20 years now. So I honestly don't think I could like do it full time, but I'm doing it for school. I'm going to move to a small little town called Monessen, Pennsylvania, where they have a school at, there's a school called Douglas Education Center. And there is a school within that school called Tom Savini's School for the Special Effects. So
Mm.
I will be going to do that, which I'm super excited about because that's another little thing that I've done. That's what got me into beauty makeup actually, was the special effects makeup that I've been doing. I was like, this is fun. What happens if I look pretty? Like I'm so used to smearing blood on my face. What happens if I, smear black lipstick on my face and call it a day? So I got into special effects doing I don't remember why I got into it. I was a child on YouTube and you know ran across some. I think oh god, it was Glam and Gore. I think all those years ago, and I was like, "Hey mom, look at this girl making herself look like a bloody nun. How do I do this?" And my mom was like, "I don't know. Should I be concerned? You're 9 years old asking these questions." So we got into special effects off of that, and then throughout high school, there was just nothing that I really you throw stuff at the wall, it doesn't really stick. And I was like, I don't really know what I want to do. And like my sister has been in architecture her whole life. Like she's wanted to be an architect since she was a freshman in high school. And so for me, I was like, well, I can't really do cheerleading my whole life and make that a job. That's kind of hard. And I was like, I don't really know what I want to do with my life. And then I was reminded of special effects makeup, like about halfway through high school. My friends were like, dude, you did this? And I'm like, yeah, I did that like on Instagram like 5 years ago. And they were like, dude, that's really cool. And I was like, I guess so. And then one of my teachers saw and was like, you can do that for a job, right? And I was like, I did not know that. So then when the COVID thing happened, I was still in high school. So we left for, the break of COVID. And I really hit the ground running on like special effects makeup and stuff because I had a lot of time on my hands. Like I had nothing else better to do. And so when I started doing that, my art teacher at the time was like, can I see some of the stuff you've done? And I was like, sure. So I showed her some of the stuff that I've done on Zoom. And she was like, oh my God, like you need to get into this. And I was like, I know. Um, and so then I talked to my parents about it and we got me on like a plan to like save money and everything to go do it. And so ever since then, my parents and I have been really trying to get me to Pennsylvania. We've had to push it back once only because of I don't remember what it was. It was like something about me. I was like, I'm not ready to move out yet. Like, I'm 18 years old. I don't want to move out yet. So we pushed it back and gave me time to like save. And now I'm going to be able to do it without any debt, which is really nice. But yeah, so I'm getting into special effects and going to do it professionally. And it's going to be really fun. It's going to be in Pennsylvania though. So scary.
You're going to come back here and you're going to implement that into these little meets and shows.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm really excited about it actually. Now that I've gotten into this community, I'm like, oh, I can do makeup for you guys. That's gonna be fun.
Actually, that sounds really cool. That's fun. I like that. Thanks for sharing that story. That made me happy.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna roll into the first question. Where did you hear about the MadMax meet?
So I heard about the MadMax meet. So again, it trails back to Haunt. Most of everything does. So my friend Robbie, I'm sure we know of Robbie. He's a photographer. Really tall dude with a mohawk. Um, he's my best friend. Like I ride or die person. Like I go to him for everything. And one day I was at his house and we were just chilling, having a good time, doing whatever. And he was like, hey, there's this like photo meet thing if you want to come to it. He was like, it's Mad Max themed if you're down. And I was like, I don't know, send me the information. So he sent me the information and I looked at it and I was like, that looks like fun. I mean, something new. I've never done a photo meet. I was like, this looks fun. So I asked him, I was like, who's going? And he said like, oh, Phil's going and Belle's going and everyone. And I was like, oh, all my friends are going. Sure, I'll go. So he told me about it. And then I got on the group chat with everybody. met everyone through there, and it was yeah, it was pretty easy. It was my story of learning about it wasn't very crazy. It's just my friend Robbie invited me, and it was very fun.
Well, we're happy that your friend Robbie did that because we had a lot of fun with you.
I know, I had a lot of fun there. I was like, wow.
Um, so this was your first meet.
Yeah, it was my first meet.
So what did you think about it? What did you think about the whole process, how it was, what happened?
I really liked sorry, I really liked the organization of it all. It was really like laid out really well, and it was very easy to like tell where we were going first and find where we were going and everything. I know for me that's a point of anxiety when I'm going somewhere new. Like I've never been to Bombay, but also like I've never been to X, Y, or Z. You know, if I'm going somewhere new, I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't really want to go. Um, like it stresses me out a little bit, you know. So I did really appreciate the way that it was organized with like the group chat of everyone, hey, we're moving to the next place, or you know, hey, this is where we're meeting first, or if you're going to be late, if you're coming at this time, this is where you're going to be, you know. And so it was really like I enjoyed the organization of it all, and it being such a new experience for me. Everybody that was there and that I met was super friendly, like they were just over the moon. I was just like so happy about like how nice everyone was being because I had no idea what I was doing. They were like, "Oh, go pose over there with this thing," and I was like, "Okay." I'm gonna go stand over here awkwardly because I don't know what I'm doing. But then, you know, they came in and were like, "Hey, can you put your hand here, do this with your face, all that stuff." I know me and you got some photos together, and I think we talked about it. I was like, I don't know what to do because I'm staring directly into your eyes. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know if that's like awkward or weird or if that's what I'm supposed to be doing, you know. So I definitely enjoyed like the friendliness of everybody and the community that I had felt from like the get go. Like I got there and everyone was saying hi to everybody, and I was like, oh, like we all know each other. Cool. Like I like the friendly like conversation. You know, I definitely enjoyed the friendliness coming from everybody too.
Didn't we actually run into each other before we even
We
got
did. Well, so we were driving. I was driving, and Robbie was like, "Oh my gosh, okay, there's a person who just passed exactly what we just passed," and I was like, "Okay," and he was like, "We need to find this person," and I was like, "Yes, we do," and so he was like, "It's a red Toyota Corolla," and I was like, "Okay, cool." So I was like driving, not crazily. I was just driving like normal, but I did speed up just ever so slightly. And then we like spotted you like three cars ahead, and so I got into the lane next to us, and then I kind of like past the three cars, you know, and then I got behind you and I was like, yes, like we found her.
I receive a photo of like the back of my car and I look in the mirror and you're like, great. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Hi.
And we're like, hi. We're like waving from the
That
truck.
was
I don't think you saw the eyeliner I was bringing you.
hmm.
It rolled down the window and I held it out the window when we caught
Oh
up to you.
my gosh. I didn't see that.
I was like, she must see the eyeliner.
Oh man. I
The
didn't see
people
that.
behind me were probably like, what is he doing?
Thank you for that. Thanks the eyeliner help was there. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was like, we need to let her know we're with her.
Tell us about your costume and what inspired your outfit.
Okay, so the costume was inspired by my mother, and that sounds really weird. I promise it's not like that. I told my mom about this like when I came home from Robbie's house that day, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to a photo meet. I don't really know what it is, so don't ask a lot of questions." I was like, "However, I do know that I need a costume that is like MadMax inspired," and she was like, okay. And I was like, have you ever seen Mad Max? She goes, no. And I was like, solid. Um, so I kind of like did some digging on the internet and just kind of looked up like generic post-apocalyptic Mad Max costumes. And was like, I was liking what I saw, and I was like, okay, so it's definitely like, you know, the pads on the shoulders and the over exaggerated like leather ties and stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I went to Robbie's house again a couple days later, and we watched Mad Max. We watched Fury Road, and I was like, solid. I was like, now I really know what I'm doing. I had no idea what I was doing. So I went home the next day and I got on Amazon and I sat with my mom and we were just kind of like looking over everything, peeling through like all of like the what Amazon would say is like a Mad Max inspired outfit. And then I was like, okay, perfect. I was like, I knew I wanted the leg garter things like the buckles that go on the legs. I knew I wanted that. I knew I wanted the shoulder pads. Aside from that, I was like, I don't really know what else to get. And then I ran across the mask that I had. I didn't really wear it a whole lot because it was kind of uncomfortable. It was like, and I had makeup on, so I was like, I don't really want to like ruin that. But I did have the mask on a couple times. And it's kind of like a in Silence of the Lambs. Um, oh God, I forgot his name. Why did I forget his name? In Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter.
Okay.
It had like the Hannibal Lecter thing on the front, and I was like, I want that. So I bought that as well to go on top. Aside from that, the jeans that I got from Amazon as well. Amazon was really coming through for that one. Amazon was coming through. But those jeans that I got them because one, I wanted them for like personal style stuff, but I was also like, wait, these are really sick. Like they have a skull on the front and they have like a hand going down my leg. I was like, I'm getting these. So I got those. I wouldn't say like it was super inspired by much, but I will say my mother did help me pick out 90% of it. And Fury Road was like a big part of it because I'm not like the way that I dress, I feel like I'm dressed for a holiday party right now though, but I feel like the way that I dress normally is super like emo, dark, black, wearing a lot of like dark color and a lot of like leather jackets and stuff like that. And so I was like, oh, I have to dress for like Wasteland. I've never done this. I've never tried to like dress outside of, you know, Doc Martens, Doc Martens skinny jeans and a loose shirt. Like I've never really tried to go outside of that. And so I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing.
You did good though. I liked your outfit. I remember that. And you had that little cross thingy with the
Yeah, I
buckle.
went across the chest right here.
Yeah.
I was shirtless, so I wanted it to cover at
Yeah,
least a little bit.
I remember that. All right. So what was your most favorite part of the day?
Oh no, that's hard. The most favorite part of the day is hard. Because I'm kind of like thinking about it. I'm like, we went to Denny's afterward, and that was really fun because I like to go to Denny's after events and stuff. I don't know. There's something about a Denny's at like midnight that just hits different. But we did Denny's afterward. That was really fun. I really enjoyed that. And honestly, just like seeing the art. I'm an art nerd. I like art. So it was like being there in the middle of the desert with these art installations that are meant for people to see, but I feel like they're not seen by as many people as they should be seen by because, you know, people aren't going to drive all the way out to Bombay to see them, but I feel like people need to. And so I feel like the fact that we took pictures with all of the stuff and we told people very plainly where we were, I really did enjoy the fact that I got to see so much like art that I feel like I would have never seen had I not been a part of this photo meet. Like I did genuinely enjoy seeing a ton of art that was just out there and for that people put there for people to see. And I was just like, this is really cool. like, like I enjoyed the art a lot. And then on top of that, just hanging out with new people, being around people that I already knew, hanging out with my friends, hanging out with Robbie and Bella and all of them. And then also, you know, hanging out with you, somebody that I just met that day, had never spoken to you really. And then I was like, dude, this person's cool, you know, and everybody else that I met was really cool. And I really enjoyed just being there. You know, I feel like I can't really like come up with like a specific thing in my brain because it was just like being there was my favorite part.
Our experience was pretty good, so I
Yeah.
feel you. I would probably have a hard time singling out a favorite part. What about if I asked you what was your favorite location? Would that be an easier one or no?
Vacation. Yikes. I can probably do this. I will say I did enjoy the whole meet kind of disbanded right before we went here. It was only a couple of us at that point. It was at the very end. It was after the TVs. So it was at the like super end of the day. We went to the drive-in just to see if we could like grab a couple photos there or see some stuff or you know. And I enjoyed being there. I really liked the ambiance. I don't think I took a couple photos on top of like an old van. But aside from that, like we didn't really take photos. I was just kind of like looking at the drive-in and it was just really pretty and I really liked it. And I was like, this is really cool. And then another fun location that I remember being in, the it was kind of like one of those areas where we stopped to do this one big thing, but then there was a ton of other small stuff around it. There was a phone booth, and I don't remember what the top of the phone booth said, but we took photos in the phone booth, and I liked the phone booth. And there was a swing that was like right there, and I liked the swing too. So I feel like those areas, it was right by the pirate ship. If that like places it a little better in your brain, that's kind of all of those areas were like I liked the vibes of those areas, you know. And then I guess the second best would be the abandoned house that we were taking pictures in.
The abandoned house, was that the one with all the different buildings that had graffiti? Or is that
Yeah, Yeah, there was like it was like half of a house. I don't know what happened to it, but I stood in the kitchen. I stood in what I was assuming was the kitchen. There was a chandelier and there was a kitchen and there was wood everywhere and glass everywhere. And I feel like I probably should not have climbed up there and to take pictures, but it was only like a 4 foot little climb. So I just hopped up there and I liked it because it gave me like vibes of like a house that had like half burned down, but then just been left, and I don't know why, but like abandoned buildings speak to me in a fun way. I like abandoned buildings, especially for like photo shoots and stuff. So I was like, ooh, abandoned kitchen, let's go.
That's good. I was there. That was the last location I was at, but I didn't see that half kitchen thing.
Yeah, because you said bye to everybody. And I was like, oh no. I
I
was
could
like,
not
bye.
feel half my body. I was so cold. I was tired. I had a
Oh
long
yeah.
drive,
It was
so
freezing out there.
it
It was
was.
freezing. I was like, everything hurts because I'm cold. It was
Yeah.
at that point I put a shirt on. I borrowed my friend Hunter's shirt. I was like, hey, does anyone have anything that could go underneath this? And they were like, this. And I was like, solid. So I definitely think putting the shirt on helped.
I agree. I had to go put on sweats, and I was a little okay, but I still had to leave.
No, it was cold. I was like, ooh, yikes.
Were there any challenging moments?
um, the first time getting in front of a camera, I'll feel like. The only time I've ever really been in front of a camera, like on purpose, on purpose in front of a camera, was during haunt season when photographers would come through the maze and they would take photos of me, but I'm just doing my thing. I'm just playing the character and I'm doing my thing and I'm reaching out towards them and I'm snarling my teeth at them and I'm doing my thing and I'm kind of moving around and everything that's going on around me is normal. Like it feels pretty good for me. So I feel like I never like pose for photographers when they come through the haunt, because I don't have to. I just am doing my thing and I'm moving around and I don't think I'm supposed to anyways. So whatever, I'm just moving through doing my thing. And I feel like the people who take photos coming through the haunt don't expect me to like stop. And so it feels very natural to me in a haunt setting to be in front of a camera when they do come through. However, I've never purposefully put myself in front of a camera. Like even in cheerleading and gymnastics, people would just take photos of me. But again, I'm doing a routine. I'm not really thinking about the camera that's there. I'm thinking about, oh, what's next? Thinking about, oh, do I have my arm here now? Am I doing this? Am I throwing a person in the air? Am I tumbling? What am I doing? And so I'm thinking about my own stuff. So I never really think about the fact that there's a camera there. However, getting into like this modeling thing with the photo meet, I was very aware that I was in front of a camera. They were like, go over there and do this thing. And I was like, all right. And then I would stand there and I'm like, I'm in front of a camera. Like, so it was definitely a weird challenge in my brain to like feel like act natural when I'm very aware that a camera is on me.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I feel like some of it wasn't acting natural because, they're like posing me and you have to act like this, do this, do this. But I feel like in those moments, I was like, this feels weird to me because I've never done it. And so that I feel like that was the only challenging like portion of the day that I feel I encountered was like, you know, what am I doing in front of a camera?
Were
Like
you
I'm being put here. Huh?
were you just like just posing and like just I'm just gonna pose, I'm just gonna pose and just doing it,
Yeah.
or were you like, were there any kind of like breathing exercises or mental exercises you had to do to get through it, or was it just not that serious? You just weren't, you just, it was just super new for
Uh,
you.
I was kind of just there. I put myself there and I was like, all right, this is what you're doing. Be comfortable with it. Because that's how I was brought up with like gymnastics and cheerleading. Like, if I feel uncomfortable going into something, I'm going to be uncomfortable doing the thing. Like in gymnastics, it was like, gymnastics, it wasn't as crazy because in gymnastics, it's like there's 6 separate events. And, the only people who are really watching you are your parents and your teammates. And so it was never really like I felt that pressure of like, oh, people are watching me. But in cheerleading, it's like you and your whole team of like 20 people go out onto the stage on the mat thing, and there's stage lights on you, and everyone in the crowd is staring at you because that's what they're there to do. And maybe this person's team is up next, this person's team was before you, and they're kind of just there. And so in cheerleading, it was always like, okay, you're here, you warmed up, you're next on the mat, deal with it, you're going to be fine. Like, truth be told, you've done this routine 2,000 times, you're going to be fine. And so throwing myself out on the mat and kind of just forcing myself to deal with it through 5 years of doing that, kind of like really pushed me into being able to do that in life. like when I start a new job, like I'm starting a new job in a couple days, and it's a serving job, and I've done serving before, never in this setting, so it's kind of just like you just have to be okay with it, putting myself in a situation, and I know I'm putting myself in that situation, and even if I get uncomfortable doing it, I know I can get out of the situation if I need to get out of the situation, but I'm gonna make myself try to be okay with the situation first. Like first and foremost, I'm going to be like, well, you wanted to do this. So let's have you do this. And if you absolutely hate it, you never have to do it again. And so I think I just kind of just force myself to just, listen to what they're telling you to do and do it.
So it sounds like there's a little bit of coaching yourself and talking yourself through the process that happens.
Yeah, just a little bit, not a lot. It's kind of just like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. No, do it. you know.
I like that. How does modeling fit into your career goals? And if it doesn't, what brought you into the community? And I'm seeing the makeup thing, so somewhere it has to be connected.
Yeah, just a little bit. The connection between like the makeup and the modeling, I feel like I'm putting myself in the modeling perspective for putting makeup on my face and learning how to model with it so that I can coach other people to model the makeup I put on them the way that I want it to be perceived, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like in the future when I'm licensed and doing all the stuff and doing the makeup, if I put a huge prosthetic on somebody's mouth and a huge thing on their neck and a whole whatever, and they're supposed to be like a praying mantis, and they're modeling it in a way like they look uncomfortable or they look like they don't really know how to use this prosthetic or use whatever they're doing, I can be like, hey, if I were you, I'd do this, kind of just give them a little bit of an incentive to like, you have this thing on your mouth, so you don't need to do anything with your mouth, focus on your eyes. The mouth is doing the talking for you. So getting into like the modeling side of it is putting me into the perspective of how are people going to feel when I put my makeup on you and I have you do this thing that maybe it's your first time doing, and maybe getting people to like be comfortable with it, but also doing it for my own self, putting the makeup on so that I can model some of it and show it off because I'm very excited about like the makeup side of life. I love makeup. Who doesn't love makeup?
I agree with you. I love makeup too.
Exactly. Like it's a weird day if I don't put any on my face.
Can't do it as good as you can, but I like makeup too.
I'm sure it looks fine. I'm sure it looks great.
Um, I like that though. You're putting yourself in the position of the people you're going to work with, so in the future you know how to better work with them.
Exactly. Yeah, because I feel like in my job, I'm a barista at Starbucks, but I also train new baristas from time to time. And in doing that, like being a trainer, I've always like put myself in the position of them. I'm like, how did you feel almost 3 years ago when you came into this job knowing nothing about coffee, knowing nothing about barista, knowing nothing about Starbucks really, except for, you go there to pick up a coffee every once in a while. And like, how did you feel coming into this? And what are things that you wished your trainer told you? I mean, my trainer was fantastic. I loved her. I still love her. We work together. She's a great person. But it was like, what did you wish was said to you when you started? And so it's kind of like one of those things where like when I start out with them, I'm like, well, what's your learning style? Do you learn visually? Would you rather listen to me talk to you while you do the thing? Would you rather me do the thing in front of you and then you do the thing right after? Would you rather, listen to me talk while I do the thing and then you do it right after and I just take a step back and let you do it? Like, how would you want me to train you in this situation? And so I kind of just like to put myself in their shoes of like, how do they feel right now? I just dumped, 70,000 hours of knowledge on them. I just dropped their entire job on how to do this one thing on them. And now I'm asking them to do it 5 seconds later. Like how does that feel? So I definitely enjoy having like the knowledge of something before I go in to like tell somebody to do something or like help somebody with something. I would rather give them the knowledge from a perspective of somebody who's done it and somebody who's felt the same way that they feel before I, you know, throw them in and just say good luck. That was my first job. They threw me in and said good luck. They didn't really train me at all. So I definitely think I want to put myself in situations where I learn how to do stuff first and then teach other people how to do it.
That's good. I like that. You're very considerate, and I think that's a good way to be with people, and people will appreciate that. So I see that being a really good thing.
Yeah, thank you. I do see. I hope it's a good thing. I want it to be a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, we're down to our last question. Can you mention any photographers that were an absolute pleasure to work with?
Well, I mean, obviously, Robbie. Have to put him in
Obviously.
there. He's the one who brought me. He's my best friend. Robbie, obviously, but definitely Tara. Um, Pixel Girl Photography on Instagram, if y'all don't know. She is an absolute pleasure every time I talk to her. I love speaking to her. I love hanging out with her and being around her. She's a very safe person to be around. Like she feels very safe when I'm around her, and I feel like nothing bad can happen when I'm around Tara. Like it's a good feeling when I'm around Tara. Her, and then oh goodness, I forgot his name, but it's Pierside Photos on Instagram,
Yes,
and I've forgotten his name. He was wearing a yellow flannel.
yes.
Yeah, him. He was wonderful. And then just give me 1 second. I'm actually gonna look up because I do have the name of another one, and
I
I
like
completely
your side photos. That was the first time I met him too. He was very kind. He's
yeah.
very like personable. He was very easy to talk to. I liked him as well.
Yeah, he was super easy to talk to, and he was like really like made me feel comfortable like being around in this situation. He was actually the second photographer to grab me for photos. And I was like, cool. And he was like, you're doing great. You're doing fantastic. Like you can do nothing different, do exactly what you're doing right now. Oh, could you move your hand here, do this? And he was super kind about the whole thing, because I warned everybody that I worked with that day. I was like, dude, I've never done this before. It's like, if I look awkward, tell me, because I don't know what I'm doing. And so I feel like those people were like him specifically was very helpful with like letting me know like you're doing great, you're doing fine, good job, keep doing this, don't do this. And then I don't think I have his actual name, but Droke Photography.
Okay.
He was super super sweet. He took photos of me in that doorway, and he was again coaching me through the whole thing and letting me know that it was just like you're fine, you're doing good. Yeah, so I definitely think they were a pleasure. But those were like the four. I think those were the four that I mainly worked with that day. I don't think I really worked with anybody else to my knowledge. And if I missed anyone, I'm so sorry. I'm really terrible with names and I have a horrible memory. So
I'm sure everybody will be understanding. That those I agree with you on your I agree with most of what you said, but the photographers you mentioned, I also feel like Tara is a safe place, and Pierce said was super personable. I think I came across stroke photography maybe like for half a second, so I can't really remember much either. Uh,
yeah.
I'm there with you on that. That was a good list right there.
And then Robbie, he's my best friend.
Don't forget Robbie. Did you mention Robbie? What about Robbie?
I think I did at the very beginning of when I was talking about photographers.
You did.
Robbie brought me to the whole thing. I have to mention him.
Is there anything else you want to share? Anything you want to say?
um, no, I'm just happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I mean, it's been a pleasure like talking to you about this whole thing. I feel like it's a good like time to reflect on on that whole day because it was a good day. So thank you for having me. And then yeah, I'm just super excited to like get more into the community. I've gone to that meet and then now another one, and I've just had a great time both times, and I'm super excited to like get into it more.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you decided to do this talk session. And I did see you at the meet, I think it was last Friday. And
Yeah,
I just want to tell everyone, whoever didn't see, had heels on like this big,
are they
walking
with me? They're in
perfectly
my car still.
fine. Are they around?
They're in my car still.
Oh my gosh, he's just
If
walking
you want
like
to give me like
fine.
5 minutes to run out there real quick and grab them, I can grab them and show you, and then you can just edit out that part
Go
where I
for
run
it.
away. Okay, I'll be right back. So these shoes are intimidating. Can you? There we go. Yeah. Oh, the blur's all messing it up. Whatever.
I'm
Yeah.
walking perfectly fine in that while I am tripping on flat ground with no shoes. So I'm just like watching him go by like I'm never be able to do this ever.
It was really fun. I don't even know how I do that. Well, because like I walk on stilts, right? Like I'm a stilt walker. It's very fun, but those are not stilts. They're like my foot's at a 6-inch incline, and I'm walking on a thin little stiletto.
Okay, were your legs hurting the next day?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had work the next morning at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Like I ended up getting home like an hour before I had to go to work. And about halfway through work, I was like, oh, I was like, I'm gonna need to take a nap later. I was like, my legs are not doing great.
Yep,
And then they were pretty sore for like 2 days after that.
yep. That's a leg workout. My little tiny heels, my legs were hurting, so I'm just looking at your heels like I don't. He's walking
Well,
perfectly fine.
I don't know how much they weigh per shoe, but I know that they have a weight because when I bought them, they had separate shoe weights. Like it told me how much they weighed. And then it also gave me a warning of for sitting photos and photography purposes only, do not try to walk in them.
And
There's literally a warning. There was a tag on the shoe that said don't walk in them.
you show up and you walk around and you go spend the whole day in them. Nice.
I
Okay.
blatantly ignored it. I was like, whatever, I'm gonna walk in them anyways.
Tag rebel.
Yeah, I was well because I love shoes like that. I don't know. I love heels. I just enjoy shoes.
You do good in them. You do better in them than I do. So do I. Do you? Do
I
you
appreciate
have
it.
fun with everything?
Yeah, I'm hoping I can bring more of my weird shoes to more meets.
I would love to see all of your weird shoes.
I'll bring them. Trust me. You'll see them eventually.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, Josh. Thank you so much for this time and for giving us a little bit more information about you. And I'm so glad that we got to see that. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
hope to do more of these and then maybe see you again from a different meet and get your perspective on some other meets.
I'm always down. Maybe a different makeup look.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
next time it'll be purple.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right. I'm gonna log off, stay on, and then we'll chat a little bit.
Perfect.